My name is Alara Bennett. I'm 32 years old. 3 weeks ago at my sister's wedding, my drunk aunt leaned across the table and told me something that rewrote my entire life in a single sentence. She said, "Your mom threw your acceptance letter away. Not lost, not delayed, thrown away. And the worst part? Everyone at that table already knew." I looked across the reception hall at my mother, waiting for denial, panic, something. She smiled. Calm, controlled, untouchable. And then she said 5 words that shattered 14 years of my life. "You wouldn't have lasted." For 14 years I believed I wasn't good enough, that I had aimed too high, that life had corrected me. Turns out, it wasn't life. It was my mother, a mailbox, and a trash can. But what she didn't know? That night, I didn't come empty-handed, because sitting in my purse was proof. And by the end of that wedding, that smile on her face was gone. Let me take you back to spring 2012. Senior year, Ridgeline High. A school small enough that your GPA wasn't private, it was public information. Mine, 3.9, not perfect, but earned. Every decimal point came from late nights, second shifts, and silence. I worked at a small pizza place called Marco's, Friday and Saturday nights. $6 an hour plus tips. I didn't spend that money. Not on clothes, not on food, not on friends. I saved it. Because I already knew something at 17 most kids don't. No one was saving anything for me. My mother had a system. There were 2 daughters in our house. My younger sister Lila, and me. Lila got piano lessons, private Sati tutoring, a college advisor who charged $200 an hour, encouragement. I got a stack of community college brochures, silence, and expectations, just lower ones. My mother, Diane Bennett, had a favorite phrase. She'd say it at dinner, at church, at family gatherings, always casually, always smiling. Lila has potential. Alara has stability. Stability, like I was furniture. Reliable. Predictable, not impressive. The secret application. I didn't argue. I didn't rebel. I didn't cry in front of her. I just did something she didn't expect. I applied to Columbia University. In secret. I wrote my essay at the public library. After my shifts. Still smelling like pizza grease and exhaustion. I paid the application fee in crumpled bills. $63, all in 1s and 5s, stuffed into an envelope like it mattered. Because to me, it did. I didn't tell my mother, because I already knew what she'd say. She had said it my entire life in different ways. "That's not for you." The mailbox. Our mailbox sat at the end of the driveway. Rusty. Crooked. The red flag never stayed up. My mother got home at 3:15 p.m. I got home at 3:40. 25 minutes. That's all she had. 25 minutes to decide my future. But I didn't know that. Not then, waiting. Every day, I checked the mailbox. Empty. Or filled with things addressed to her. Bills, catalogs, letters, but never mine, not once. The question. One night I finally asked, "Did anything come from Columbia?" She didn't even look up, just flipped a page in her magazine and said, "Nothing came. I'm sorry, honey. Maybe it's for the best." That sentence, it didn't just answer a question. It ended a dream. The quiet breakdown. I went upstairs, closed my door, cried into my pillow, quietly, because loud emotions weren't allowed in our house, especially mine. She didn't come check on me, not once. Instead, I heard her on the phone, laughing, speaking softly, like nothing had happened. The next morning, I came downstairs, and there it was, a stack of brochures. Bright, colorful, carefully arranged. Community colleges, trade institutes, local options. My future, printed the night I cried myself to sleep, and I believed her. That's the part that hurts the most. Not what she did, but what I did after I believed her. I enrolled in community college, told myself it was temporary, told myself I'd transfer, told myself I'd try again. But over time, those thoughts got quieter, until one day, they stopped completely. If you've ever built your life on something you later found out wasn't true, then you already know this part. Because the hardest thing isn't starting over. It's realizing you were never supposed to start there in the first place. The temporary life that became permanent. I told myself community college was just a detour. 2 years, transfer, move on. Simple. Except life doesn't drift forward. It settles. I enrolled at Tri-County Community College that fall. Same town, same streets, same people. It felt like I never left high school, like my life had paused, while everyone else moved forward, shrinking without noticing. At first I kept my ambition. I sat in the front row, answered questions, stayed late after class, told myself, this is just step one. But slowly, something changed, not overnight, not dramatically, just quietly. I stopped raising my hand as much, stopped talking about transferring, stopped imagining anything bigger, because every time I did, there was a voice. Not loud, not aggressive, just constant. That's not for you. The transfer that didn't feel like a win. After 2 years, I transferred to Penn State Harrisburg. On paper, that's success. That's progress. That's something to be proud of. But I didn't feel proud. I felt relieved, like I had barely qualified to exist in that space. Like I had slipped through a crack, and someone was eventually going to notice. The invisible ceiling. That belief followed me everywhere. Class presentations, I overprepared, then apologized while speaking. Group projects, I did most of the work, then gave others the credit. Professors praised me, said I had leadership potential, strong analytical thinking, clear communication, and every time I heard it, I thought, they just don't know me well enough yet. Graduation without celebration. I graduated with a degree in project management, $38,000 in student loans, a handshake, a diploma, and a quiet voice in my head saying, this is exactly where you belong. Not in a proud way, in a limiting way, like I had reached my ceiling. Entering the real world. My first job, administrative assistant at a mid-sized construction company, phones, emails, scheduling, filing permits. Nothing glamorous, nothing impressive, and honestly, it felt right. Not exciting, not fulfilling, but familiar, safe. The problem with being capable. Here's something nobody tells you. When you've spent your whole life being underestimated, you learn how to exceed expectations quietly. I learned everything. How to read blueprints, how to coordinate subcontractors, how to manage timelines, how to fix problems before anyone noticed they existed. I didn't ask for promotions. I just became indispensable. And that's when it started changing. At 26, they promoted me to project coordinator. At 29, project manager. By 31, I was a senior project manager. overseeing residential builds worth $3 to $4 million each, leading teams, making decisions, running projects from start to finish. From the outside, I had made it. I bought a house, a small one, but mine. Backyard, garage, 15 minutes from where I grew up. I paid my own mortgage, mowed my own lawn, built a life, brick by brick. But inside, nothing changed. Not really, because success doesn't erase conditioning. It just sits on top of it. Every promotion felt like a mistake. Every achievement felt temporary. Every compliment felt like confusion. And my mother made sure of that. Every single milestone. She reframed it. I'd tell her, I got promoted. She'd say, that's nice. Lila just got a new position in marketing. I'd say, I bought a house. She'd respond, good for you. Lila is looking at homes in Fieldcrest. Better neighborhood, better status, better everything. Always the scoreboard. She never insulted me directly. That would have been easier. Instead, she kept score. Quietly, relentlessly, and somehow I was always behind, not because I failed, but because she kept moving the finish line. The truth about my sister. And here's the complicated part. I didn't hate Lila. I couldn't. She wasn't cruel. She didn't compete with me. She just existed in the role my mother gave her. The golden child. The one who was allowed to shine. So who did I blame? Myself. Always myself. For not being enough. For not getting into Columbia. For being exactly who my mother said I was. Until 6 months ago. 6 months before the wedding. Something happened. Something small, but sharp. The kind of moment that splits your life into before and after. The conversation that changed everything. My boss, Gerald, called me into his office. No warning, no context. Just, close the door, Alara. My first thought, I did something wrong. That's how deep it ran. Success didn't change that instinct. Instead, he said this. You should present the Colton Ridge project to the board next quarter. I blinked. Waited for the rest. The correction. The just kidding. It didn't come. My first thought. I'm not qualified. Immediate. Automatic. Unquestioned. My second thought. Where did that come from? Because logically, I had the numbers. I had the results. I had just completed a project. Under budget, ahead of schedule. First time in company history. There was no reason to doubt myself. Except there was the voice. It wasn't mine. Not originally. It was hers. My mother's. Clear. Calm. Certain. You're the kind of girl who stays local. And that's when it hit me. Not slowly. Not gently. Like walking into glass. Hard. Sudden. Unavoidable. The lie was bigger than I thought. It wasn't just about Columbia. It wasn't just about one letter. One rejection. One moment. It was structural. Built into everything. The way I thought. The way I spoke. The way I saw myself. I had been living inside a script. A script I didn't write. A role I didn't choose. A limitation I didn't question. Because I thought it was real. And if I didn't break it, I'd lose another 10 years, another 14, another lifetime. The real cost. I wasn't struggling financially. I wasn't failing. But something more expensive than money was being spent every single day. Time, confidence, possibility. And I was running out of it. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, silence around me, And for the first time in 14 years, I asked a different question. Not, am I good enough? But, what if I was, and someone made sure I never found out? The decision. That question led to a decision. A terrifying one. The kind that doesn't feel exciting. It feels dangerous. I went back to the one place I had buried. The one dream I had shut down. The one name I hadn't said out loud in years. Columbia. And this time, I didn't ask for permission. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell my sister. I didn't tell anyone. Because the last time I wanted this, it was taken from me. 6 months before the wedding, I sat at my kitchen table at 2:13 a.m., laptop open, heart racing, and I filled out an application I never thought I'd touch again. Columbia University. Not the version I dreamed about at 17, a different path. The School of General Studies, for people like me, people who took the long way, people who built a life first and came back for what they lost. I didn't overthink the essay. I didn't try to sound impressive. I just told the truth. I didn't stop wanting this. I just stopped believing I was allowed to have it. I submitted it, closed my laptop, and didn't tell a single person, because hope, when it's been taken from you once, feels dangerous. The letter. 2 weeks before the wedding, it arrived, a thick envelope, blue crest. My hands were shaking before I even opened it. I sat in my car, same parking lot where I once read about this program, different version of me. I opened it, read the first line, and everything blurred. I got in, not waitlisted, not deferred, accepted. At 32 years old, after everything, after 14 years of believing I wasn't enough, I had proof I was. I folded the letter carefully, placed it in my purse, and carried it with me every day, like something fragile, like something sacred. I planned to tell one person, my Aunt Patricia, because she was the only one who ever looked at me like she saw something more. I had no idea. She was about to tell me something first. The wedding reception. Back to the reception. Round tables, soft music, fake smiles, real tension. My mother sat across from me. Perfect posture, perfect expression, perfect control. Patricia had been drinking, more than usual. Her hands weren't steady. Her eyes kept finding mine, then looking away, then back again. Finally, she leaned forward, voice low, just enough for me to hear, "Your Columbia letter came." I blinked. "What?" She swallowed, looked at my mother, then back at me. "It came 14 years ago." The room didn't spin. It didn't go blurry. It didn't get dramatic. It got quiet. Inside my head. Too quiet. "I saw it," she said. "I was there that day." My heart started beating louder. Slow. Heavy. "What are you saying?" Patricia exhaled, like she'd been holding it in for years. "I'm saying, you got in, Alara." Silence. "I'm saying your mother opened the letter." Her voice cracked, and threw it in the trash. The table knew. I looked around the table, at my cousins, at my grandmother, at the people sitting inches away from me. Nobody looked surprised. That was the second betrayal. Not the lie, not even the theft. The silence. "You all knew?" I asked. No one answered. My grandmother closed her eyes. My cousin stared at his plate. Patricia started crying. And my mother? She didn't panic. She didn't deny it. She smiled. The 5 words. She took a slow sip of her drink. set the glass down, looked directly at me, and said, "You wouldn't have lasted." That was it. No apology, no explanation, no regret, just a verdict. 14 years of my life, reduced to 5 words. Something broke, and something else replaced it. I waited. For anger, for tears, for something explosive. But what I felt instead was clarity. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The doubt, the hesitation, the ceiling I couldn't break, the voice in my head that never sounded like mine. It wasn't random. It wasn't fate. It was engineered. The moment she lost control, my mother leaned back in her chair, still composed, still certain. "You went to community college," she continued. "You did fine. You have a stable life." I was right. I nodded slowly. For the first time in my life, I wasn't reacting. I was deciding. "You're right," I said. She smiled. Small, satisfied. That's when I reached into my purse. The letter. The room shifted. People noticed, because something in my posture changed. I pulled out the envelope. Blue crest, clean edges, untouched by time. Set it on the table, right in front of her. Her smile faltered. Just slightly. "What's that?" she asked. I slid it toward her. "Open it." She didn't move. "Go ahead," I said. "You've done it before." That landed hard. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the envelope. She opened it. And read. The silence that followed. No one spoke. No music mattered. No wedding existed. Just that table, that letter, that truth. Her eyes moved across the page, line by line, and for the first time in my entire life, I saw something I had never seen before. She didn't look confident. She didn't look superior. She looked small. I spoke, finally. "I got in again," I said. Calm, steady, same school, different path. No one interrupted. No one moved. "I start this fall." Patricia covered her mouth. My grandmother started crying, and my mother? She folded the letter slowly, too carefully, like if she handled it gently enough, it wouldn't be real. The final blow. "You don't get to rewrite this one," I said. Her eyes snapped up to mine. For 14 years I thought I wasn't enough. I paused. Let it sit, but I was. Silence. "You just made sure I never knew." The shift. Something changed at that table. Not loud, not dramatic, permanent, because for the first time, the story broke. Not just for me, for everyone. And then I stood up. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't make a scene. I just stood. "I'm done playing the role you wrote for me." And I walked away. The aftermath. I didn't stay for the rest of the reception. Didn't dance. Didn't say goodbye. I got in my car, sat there for a long time. Not crying, not shaking. Just breathing. Because for the first time in 14 years, the weight was gone. Epilogue. I start at Columbia this fall. At 32. Not behind. Not late. Right on time. My mother has called me 11 times since that night. I haven't answered. Not out of anger, but out of something new. Boundaries. Because the truth is, she didn't just throw away a letter. She tried to throw away a future. She just failed. Some people will spend your entire life trying to convince you that you're small. Because they're afraid of what happens when you realize